Welcome to Faith Speaks here at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Church for Catholic Radio, WICX 102.7 FM radio, and it's a pleasure to have you with us today, and I'm Dick Patten, your host. And with me today, I'm very pleased to have our David and Karen Desmarais, who are going to be presenting, actually they're coordinating a special event coming up on May 21st at the Christ the King, or I still think of it as St. John the Evangelist Church on 72 South Main Street here in Concord. So welcome aboard to Faith Speaks, and sounds very interesting. It's called Dynamic Catholic Presents Passion and Purpose for Marriage. So it's presenting by Dr. Alan Hunt, author and speaker. Now, how long have you been involved in doing these at these workshops or getting these events going?
Actually, Dave and I have been a presenting couple for marriage encounter weekends, and we have been presenting for a good number of years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Really?
And so, yeah. And we have been involved in workshops and enrichments for married couples all during that time. And recently, just this spring, we learned about this offering from Dynamic Catholic. And actually, Dr. Alan Hunt, this is the only time that in the Northeast that Dynamic Catholic is going to present this workshop. This is the one and only. So we immediately became very interested in this. It's a great opportunity for all couples.
Really?
And Dick, we for the diocese, we are the marriage encounter coordinating couple.
Are you?
We've been involved with the diocese now for 5 years, I think, in that capacity. So we, in addition to the weekend support that we do, we run a monthly enrichment circle for couples here, and we run it actually at St. John's each Saturday evening.
Well, my wife and I were married at St. John's back in 1984, and we supposedly still hold the record for. We had 350 people there.
Wow!
Couldn't find. I guess we had people everywhere sitting, and because I had like 7 ushers and Deb had 7 bridesmaids or something. But see, I was so involved in the Concord community that it's hard to say you're not invited, and I just wanted it to be a real great day. I mean,
you filled the church.
Yeah, I mean, and all that, and plus I wanted to be as much part of the wedding planning as she was.
Sure,
right.
Sure.
So we had Monsignor Murray at the time was the one who married us.
Mm-hmm.
I was Protestant. I had not converted, and I was not, I wouldn't say not interested, but at that point I just didn't feel that it was something I wanted to do.
Yes.
And but we still had a great service there, and then of course we had the reception. But yeah, they still laugh about how that we have still hold the record for having that many people.
My goodness. Well, you beat us. We had about 100, so it's a lot smaller.
Well, I was involved in police work and all that stuff, and so I had all the police chiefs in the area were there. Of course, I'm involved in the Grange. Yes. And a lot of people from there. It was just, and my family was small.
Yes.
Where my wife's family were tremendous. They were big. I mean, her father was one of 15 kids. Her mother was one of 13 kids. Wow. And no cousins from there could come, really. It was all aunts and uncles. And,
yes.
and people we thought that wouldn't come did.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the way it is at weddings.
That's right. That's right.
I know.
It's interesting listening to you talk about your wedding and your conversion. On marriage encounter weekends, couples really do have an opportunity to explore their spirituality as a couple, and in our time presenting weekends, we have been blessed to be asked to sponsor individuals entering the church several times.
Sure.
And it was a direct result of their having the opportunity to explore their faith together on a marriage encounter weekend. So the weekends they're primarily Catholic couples who attend, but any faith expression is welcome on our weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just listening to your wedding day and mentioning that before you converted reminded me of that. So.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes when we think about marriage, we think about it as an event. You do it when you start off. We've been married 41 years
Really?
now.
Oh, good for you.
Yep, quite a long time. And we think about it like, well, I did that once, or I may have done it more than once. But marriage is really a living sacrament, as we all know.
Oh yeah.
And in this sense, the idea of enrichments, certainly in passion and purpose, but any of the enrichments that we're involved with are really like filling stations along the way.
Mm.
We need to stop periodically.
Oh
and,
yes.
and clean the windshield and get the car tuned up and get going again. And sometimes couples that come to us think, well, going back in for a weekend or any of these enrichments must mean that I have something wrong, or that I have some problem, or someone will wonder why I'm going there, because that's for people that have difficulties. And it's really not. It's really not. Both passion and purpose, and also marriage encounter, which is the Catholic expression for support for married couples. All of it is really geared toward helping us all live the kind of sacramental marriage that we aspired to.
Sure.
When we first got married, but along the way we all have to face life's challenges.
Oh yes.
And so pretty rarely do we have a chance to step aside. Usually we're helping somebody else. The kids, your parents, or your friends, and pretty rarely do we have a chance to kind of step off that big fast runway and just focus on us as a couple.
Well, I was always kind of pokey around the Catholic religion, because I think what started me into it was when John Paul was elected Pope back in 1979 or 78, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I really was attracted to him.
Yes.
Because he was younger.
Yes.
And he seemed to really be open to a lot of people,
yes.
younger people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can remember him coming into Boston that day when he came in to make his trip in the United States, and he was really,
yes.
very vibrant,
Yes.
And so, but I was never really heavily into church. Anyway, I was born in the Baptist church, but I was never baptized. But we used to go to church, Sunday school here in Concord, and then we had a camp. My father and mother had bought land in York, Maine, and we had a summer camp down there. So we were never around in the summer. So, but then, like I said, when Father Dick Lauer came to St. John's,
yes,
he
was our pastor.
Really?
In
London.
New London.
I loved him.
Yeah,
I don't
terrific.
care what people said. I liked that guy.
Yeah, he was terrific.
And so I made a call one day when he was at St. John's and asked him about what it would take to convert. It was after the Easter season.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason, I think, was because I was going on my first airplane ride to Nebraska, because my wife, her sister, her husband was stationed out in Omaha. And of course, my wife, being a devout Catholic, was afraid to take me on board because I'm not baptized. I'm not blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I said, one day I made the call. She didn't know it. And I went down and met with him. And we had a nice talk. And so anyway, I came home with all these books and stuff, and she wanted to know what I had in my hands, because somewhere in our condo unit there was another guy who was kind of I won't say Fruit Loop, but he was of some other religion that was different. And the first thing she thought was, well, you convert into him. What's that stuff in your hand? So when she saw it, she was thrilled.
Oh.
So I went through my lessons with Father
Yes.
Lauer, and then of course he and Father Cryan at the time, Andrew Cryans, did the baptism on a Sunday. He got permission from the bishop in July or early August or something to do it. And so we had the baptism, the confirmation, and sacrament, whatever the other step there.
Eucharist.
And so that was it. And
How many years ago was this?
1985, the year
1985.
after I was married, we
Yeah.
got married, I looked into it.
Yeah.
But what was amazing is that I had learned a lot more of today's Catholic religion at that time
Yes.
than they knew it, because Deb's family was a very devout family, and they were surprised at some of the things I was coming out with. And then later on, in 1991, I was doing driver licensing for the state at the time. I was down in Epping, and I got to know some of the priests down there.
Yes.
And one of them was a retired priest, and Father Corin, and he asked me, he said, Dick, he said, you'd make a good deacon. Have you ever thought of that? And I said, no, but I said, I would be interested maybe. So he was all set to get me signed right up. Well, my wife found out, she was furious. I didn't marry you to become a priest. And so
It
that
is.
went out
It
the
is a
window.
sacrifice.
Oh,
It is.
to do
sure.
that.
It
Yeah.
is. It's a big
Yes.
sacrifice. But I think I agree with one of your statements you said earlier, David, about the when you see something like this, the first thing you think of is, because a wife will say, I think we should go, why? What's our problems? You know, we do.
Yes.
You know, I admit that a lot of our interests have changed over
Yes.
the years.
Yes.
I think I wonder sometimes in the Catholic Church, although I see a lot of difference now with Pope Francis in, because he really reaches out to everybody.
He does.
And he's kind of like, I think, changing the church, because all of a sudden now I don't see so many snooties or upper class in there as I see now everybody reaching out, helping no matter who you are. They're there to help and not turn their nose up at you like some of them used to do.
Yes. Yes.
And so I really like him. I think
Yes.
he is super.
Yes.
And even though he's late in his, 70s, I think, or early 80s.
Yes.
He's
Late
up there.
70s,
Late
I think,
70s, I
yes.
believe.
So
Yeah.
whoever they get after him is going to be hard to take his place, because he is good.
Well, Dick, truth be told, we were, when we were first thinking about even making a marriage encounter weekend, we had been married, I think, 10 years,
Yeah.
and a pastor, our pastor, came to us and suggested that we make the weekend. And we were living in Massachusetts. We're now living up in New London, but I remember thinking that, boy, he must see something, that maybe he sees
Yeah.
something in there that we really might have some weakness or something like that. And so Karen you were very excited about going
I had known
And-
about Marriage Encounter for quite a long
for
time.
quite a long time.
And I had hoped that someday we would do it, but we had 3 children at the time, so very busy. It's
Oh,
so
yes.
hard to
Yeah.
get a weekend away. And
And
when you said, well, gee, let's look at our calendar, I don't think we
I-
can get on the calendar
Well, I
now.
was clever. I would always find, we do these periodically on various weekends, and I would always find a reason why we couldn't do it on that
Oh, yeah.
particular weekend. And it lasted for, I think I got away with that for about 10 years.
You did. 10
And
years.
finally, our pastor called us one evening and he said, Dave, you've got 2 choices. I can come to your house and we can get you lined up for a weekend, or you can come down to the rectory. Which would you rather do? And so his name is Father Larry Bro, still a very close friend of ours. And I gave in, and I didn't realize, I really thought that it was going to be somebody tinkering with what we have in our relationship. And I also was a little nervous that I'd have to stand up
Yes.
and make some public
Oh, I know,
statements and do
yes.
some things that that I might not want to do. And I was just totally wrong on that idea. I didn't know, and when we got there, I realized on a traditional marriage encounter weekend, it's really presented by 3 couples who've been married, just regular couples, who have been married just like us, with all the things that we do in our lives, and all of the traditional things that maybe derail us and get us away from focusing on each other and focusing more on all the other things that you do in life, work and kids. And for the first time, we had an opportunity to really share feelings. And that's a thing that feelings is something that a lot of, not just men, but a lot of people, you kind of put them away. You think, well, I don't really have time, or nobody really cares, or I don't even know how to express my feelings.
Well, I think sometimes, David, and I'm not picking on the women, but the ladies, but I think if a man shows his feelings,
Yes.
they consider him a weakling or
Yes.
a wuss or whatever.
Yes.
I'm very emotional,
Yes.
and I've always have been.
Yes.
But of course, some of that there's some reasons behind that too.
Yes.
But it's I'm not one that tends to hide my
Mhm.
thing as much as some guys do.
Yes. Yes.
Because some guys are very macho and they
Yes.
would never dare
Yeah.
show a tear or whatever.
Well, I Dick, in my case, I don't know whether I'm, maybe in the macho side of it, but I never saw my father cry.
No, mine didn't either.
Yep, the same way. Yep.
Not until his mother died.
Yep.
Grandma.
My mother told me about once that my father had died when his father died.
Yes.
Same kind of thing, and
Yeah.
so I modeled after that, and as a consequence, when Karen would have a feeling, it might be, some frustration feeling, I would always try to change her feeling,
Yeah.
and that's not very good in a marriage.
No.
The whole idea is that we feel safe enough to share our feelings together and actually support each other.
Sure.
And
this is, first of all, we do want to clarify that this is a private weekend. Dave said
Yes.
that he was afraid that he might have to,
Oh, yes,
stand
yeah.
up and talk or whatever. No, this is a private weekend that the couple attends alone, and they have time for conversation in the privacy of their room. And yes, there are a series of talks that you would attend. Each one is on an aspect of marriage, and then you're given a question to come together and discuss and share on afterwards.
Yeah.
And as that weekend
as
progresses,
that process
you
evolves.
really have an opportunity to share your hopes, your
Yeah.
dreams for your marriage that perhaps you've just been too busy to revisit.
Yeah.
And so often people come to marriage encounter weekends because they're about to go through some passage in their
The kids are out of the house,
right,
or
you're going to have a
they're
baby.
off to college,
It's,
or
yes,
or a
yep.
job change,
That's
or something
right.
like that.
That's right. Or you've just had such a financial struggle.
Yeah.
All those things that can really put such a strain on relationships that are really good relationships, and they need a break.
Now,
They
on
need
the
an
other side-
opportunity to just let the grace
Yeah.
of the Holy Spirit come in and just provide guidance for the couple. And countless couples have told us that their
Yeah.
marriages have had such a booster shot from attending
We also
a
see a lot of
weekend.
couples that come in for their for special times. Like we went on our 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We made that decision. It was a gift we'd give each other,
Right.
and indeed, I didn't know what that gift was going to be.
But don't you
in the
think-
end, it was very, very beautiful.
Don't you think, though, that today's society, though, is just so much. I mean, we see it on TV,
Yeah.
you see it at the movie theaters,
Yeah.
you see it in the newspaper.
Yeah.
So much, I hate to say it, but so much junk.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
where is the family today?
Yeah.
In one regards?
Yeah.
And the husband and wives are basically going in every direction.
Yeah.
Of course, when I used to work, I mean, Deb has her job at the bank, and it's a strenuous job.
Sure.
I had a major stroke back 8 years ago, I guess, 7 years ago, that the doctors didn't detect until I saw a brand new one for something else, and he detected it right away. But it's just like, no, so then I couldn't work anymore, and people start looking at me like, oh well, I'm paying for you to be home. No. But still, I just think today's world is
It's really hard. Really hard.
and even in church, I mean, you see sometimes a lot of people, but then you don't see anybody until there's some tragedy that brings them all together again.
Yeah. There is a, at the center, I think in thinking about what you just said, there's so many distractions around you.
Oh yeah.
And it's so easy to get pulled in different directions. Then you become like coworkers rather than husband and wife.
Yes, you're right.
And you get through the list of things that you have to do, and really that's not I think that is the thing we have to really try to attack, because it's the natural thing that the world has on us. It pulls us in these directions. And again, we don't want to confuse people, because marriage encounter is one of the enrichment types, and the other one we're talking about as well is an evening event. Passion and Purpose is an evening event. But for the moment, to focus on the encounter weekend, you need time for yourself. We all do.
Yeah.
And so in this idea, on the weekend, we're focused on giving you the window of time to find each other, to rediscover the things that brought you together, and then to grow those things that you always had, but to allow you to see how important they are again. And in that sense, the weekend is sort of like, it's like a special getaway place.
Yep.
Where you go and everything is provided for you. Everything. On the meals, we stay here in New Hampshire, we usually stay and have the weekends in the St. Methodius Retreat Center in Concord.
Oh yeah. Yes, I remember that.
It's a beautiful, beautiful
Well,
place.
Very beautiful.
Because I'll tell you, my aunt and uncle they owned a camp across. It used to be.
Yes.
It used to be Camp Merrimack.
That's right.
The
That's
Greek.
right.
I think the
Greek
Jewish camp used to own
Okay,
it.
yep. Now it's Greek Orthodox.
The Greek Orthodox bought it. Yes.
Yeah, Greek.
It's a beautiful place.
Yes.
Yeah, they're right directly
Yep.
across from
Right.
them.
It's a very beautiful spiritual place.
Yep.
And so you come in on a Friday night, you are loved, you're nurtured, you have your own private room. We encourage you to just focus on each other. You don't have to worry about public things. And then we help you through our example, the presenting couples, to discover aspects of your relationship where sometimes communicating a bit more or more
Yeah.
deeply, or exploring these ideas, Dick.
Sure.
We have seen now, and we've actually been involved now,
22 years.
22 years. We have had probably 1,000 couples in our
Wow.
time that we've been honored to be with on weekends in
Right.
various locations.
The other
all
thing,
of them come back from that weekend, and they come off that weekend. They're tired when they come in there Friday because the world has been pummeling them.
Oh yes.
And when they got out of there on Sunday, and we do a renewal of vows, a Catholic priest and 3 couples work through this very special retreat weekend. They come out of there, Dick, and they are on fire again.
Oh,
I just remembered a few things that we do need to mention. You mentioned about the 3 presenting
Yes.
team couples. There's also a priest who's there throughout the weekend. He also gives instruction and personal sharing about the gift of relationship with his people, and developing those
Now
relationships.
who's that? Who's the priest?
Well, the priest, we have a series of priests that are in the New England area,
Oh, okay.
who are both parish priests, or they are in missionary priests.
Oh, okay.
And so we rotate
Sure.
through with our priest friends, and then we have in the New England area now we have, I think, 14 couples who are
That's good.
supporting the other couples on the weekend.
During the weekend, there is opportunity for the sacrament of penance, confessions, and many people do take advantage of that. And then the other thing that we should mention is also you really do learn some nuts and bolts about communication.
Oh, yeah.
We will give you
We give you some
give
practice
tools.
runs.
We
And
give
some
you some
tools.
tools to take
Yeah.
home. There's reference material for
Yeah.
couples to take home,
Yeah.
and it's a really.
But it's not a classroom thing.
It's
It's
not
not a
classroom.
lecture.
It's a lovely
none
little
of that. It's
blend
all story,
of personal
all story,
experience. It's
Yep.
great.
all
I
story
know
and sharing.
time is coming to
Oh.
an end, but I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah, could
And
we
I-
go back to this too a little bit, if we could?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can. No, well, let's go with this first.
All right.
And
Yes.
then I'll ask you
All
a
right.
question.
So if I could, just on Passion and Purpose, again, Dr. Alan Hunt, if you go to his website or you go to Dynamic Catholic,
Yeah.
you'll learn more about Passion and Purpose for Marriage. We're very privileged to have it here in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
The next nearest location to hear this talk by Alan Hunt is in Philadelphia.
Oh, boy.
So for 2016, we are extremely blessed to have it here.
Okay.
It will run on the 21st of May
Yeah.
in the church
From 6 p.m. to 10:30.
from 6 p.m. to 10:30. And the tickets, again, this is not a weekend. That's a different enrichment. This event is a one evening event. And the tickets are $25 per ticket. But with that $25 fee, you'll get a lot of other materials that are tapes and various things that come with it as part of the support materials that Alan uses.
So for a couple,
Yes,
you're looking at $50 then.
we are. It's a big investment.
It is.
It is a big investment, Dick. But you think about it. You go out to dinner, and you spend, probably $25, $30, $40, or $50 sometimes. Sometimes not many of us
We
do
used
that.
to, and not anymore.
Not many of us do that, but you think about, is $50 for your relationship, is that a really good investment or not?
Hmm.
And he is very pragmatic, plus the materials that he gives you. He has some books and things that he has written in this area, tools and resources. And Dynamic Catholic is a tremendous organization doing great things. Also, we'd encourage you to go to the website. If you want to register, the way you would do that is you can order online through Dynamic Catholic, one word,
Yep.
.com, or you can call 859-980-7900, or you can go to the website at St. John's, and that will redirect you
Sure.
back into Dynamic Catholic.
Okay, great. I know I really would like to get you both back on again before this happens, because
Okay.
there's a lot more to talk about.
Thank you.
But my alarm just going off. But it sounds like a tremendous, but there's a lot of things going through my head right now that I could say, because it's odd. What's funny to me is that I see a lot of my nieces and nephews who
Yes.
are brought up in the Catholic faith
Yes.
want nothing to do with it now.
Yes.
Nothing. They were
Yes.
altar servers, they were this and that.
Yes.
Nothing.
Mhm.
They don't want a thing to do with it.
Yes.
And it's odd.
Yes.
In fact, a couple of them have switched to the Congregational Church or
Mhm.
something, but I said, gee, I don't get it.
Mhm.
Well, and then even sometimes my wife will say, gee, you're just so religious you are. Because I was doing the rosary
Mhm.
on Saturday Mass up here for a while.
Yes.
Till I fell off the altar and hit the end of the piano,
my
because
goodness.
they've got steps up.
Oh, I see.
And my mobility is bad.
Oh.
And there's no railing to hold on
yeah.
to. So when I went off the altar, when I was done with the rosary, I went flying because I missed that step.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't get Father Ray to put a railing in there, a little railing.
Well, maybe he'll be listening and hear.
I love Father Ray to pieces, but
he's
trouble
great
is
guy.
he's a Syracuse man and I'm a Michigan Wolverine fan.
Oh, all
so
right, all
there
right. Well,
you
I'm a
go,
Penn
but-
Stater, so.
Oh, man. Oh, dear.
We won't hold that against each other, will
No,
we?
gosh, no. Oh, between that and the Buckeyes, I hate them. But anyway, I'm glad you came on.
Thank you
and
for
we'll-
having us.
And I will get you back on
We'd
within
love
a
to come
couple of
back.
weeks or so,
Yep,
because there's
yep.
so much more that we can talk about.
Yep.
And the one question I'm going to give you
Yes.
to think about before you come back on again.
Sure.
What happens if a gay couple comes to this?
Well, I don't.
And I won't answer today.
Okay. All right. All right.
But because of today's, we've got a lot of
Yes.
gay Catholics
Yes. Mm-hmm.
that are married somehow, but
Yes.
yet they want to continue their Catholic religion, but of course the church is so.
Yes.
But but think about that, and we'll
Okay.
talk a little bit about that the next time.
All right. All right.
Because
great.
they would, I bet they would like this.
Yes.
They
Yes.
want to be included,
Yes.
but they're shunned.
Yes.
So anyway,
I
Well,
I believe for this event coming up, Passion and Purpose of Marriage, I don't think there's any.
There's no requirement.
There's no requirement or
whatsoever.
no
and that's
gate
good.
checking
That's
at the
good
door.
to know.
Hmm. Yes.
But anyway,
So.
with that in mind, I want to thank Karen and David Desmarais and joining me on Faith Speaks.
Yes.
And don't forget, May 21st at Christ the King, St. John the Evangelist here in Concord. They are hosting Parish and Purpose Marriage. Author and speaker is Dr. Alan Hunt. And again, $25 per person, and you can order them online or contact us and we'll give you the information. So with that in mind, thank you to my director, Ian Marks, and we'll talk with you soon on Catholic Radio, WICX 102.7 FM for Faith Speaks.